Imagine a stretch of water so narrow that, on a clear day, you can stand on one continent and clearly see the mountains of the other. It's just 9 miles wide at its narrowest point, yet through this tiny aquatic keyhole slips a massive chunk of the world's wealth, energy, and security. This is the Strait of Gibraltar, the gateway between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. For centuries, empires have fought and bled to control this narrow passage. Romans, Moors, British, and Spanish rulers all understood one simple truth: whoever holds Gibraltar holds the keys to the entire Mediterranean. Today, with global tensions rising and trade routes turning into weapons, this historic landmark has become a geopolitical powder keg. Let's break down exactly why this 9-mile strip of water could trigger the next global crisis. First, look at the map. The Mediterranean is basically a giant inland sea with only a handful of ways in or out. The Suez Canal links it to Asia, the Bosporus connects it to the Black Sea, and the Strait of Gibraltar is the only direct exit to the open Atlantic. Shut down Gibraltar and you effectively trap the whole Mediterranean. Every year, more than 100,000 vessels pass through, around 90,000 of them merchant ships. This route carries roughly 10 to 20% of all global maritime trade. Everything from Asian electronics to American-bound farm goods, from oil tankers to liquefied natural gas carriers, depends on it. For Europe, it's a lifeline. The continent gets a huge share of its energy through here, and as countries work to diversify away from Russian supplies, free passage through Gibraltar has become a matter of survival. It's just as vital for the United States and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. American and NATO warships use the strait to project power into the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and even the Black Sea. Control of this strait has shaped history for hundreds of years. Back in the 18th century, Britain captured the Rock of Gibraltar during the War of the Spanish Succession. The Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 made it a British naval fortress that protected routes to India and kept rival powers in check. It became known as the lion in the path of anyone trying to dominate the Mediterranean. In World War II, Adolf Hitler came up with what historians now call the real Gibraltar Gambit. His plan, Operation Felix, was to seize the rock with Spanish help, slam the door on the Mediterranean, starve the British Empire, and open North Africa for his forces. Britain used gold reserves and clever diplomacy to stop it. Spanish leader Francisco Franco stayed out, partly because of economic pressure. The operation never happened, but it proved just how powerful the strait could be. After the war, the United States and NATO built bases nearby, like the one at Rota in Spain, to keep the Soviet Union in check. During the Cold War, the strait turned into a high-stakes monitoring zone for submarines and shipping. Today's version of the Gambit is more modern and sneaky. It's not about a full-scale invasion, it's about hybrid tactics, mines, blockades, cyber attacks, or proxy forces that could deny access without firing a single shot. On the southern shore sits Morocco, a country that's rapidly modernizing its military and economy. Morocco has poured money into its ports, especially the massive Tanger Med complex right on the strait. Tanger Med now rivals Europe's biggest ports and handles more than 11 million containers a year. That shift is quietly changing the balance of power across those 9 miles. This isn't just a local story. The world's biggest players are already positioning themselves. China has poured billions into Mediterranean ports through its Belt and Road initiative, looking for reliable access to European and North African markets. Any disruption here would threaten those huge investments. Russia keeps a strong naval presence in the eastern Mediterranean, mainly out of Syria. For Moscow, easy access to the open Atlantic is critical for its submarines and warships, so Russian forces watch the strait constantly. Right now, the Rock of Gibraltar remains a British overseas territory with a key United Kingdom military base. It has radar systems, naval facilities, and refueling operations that give NATO eyes on every ship that passes. Spain still claims sovereignty, calling Gibraltar a colonial leftover. After Brexit, years of talks produced a new United Kingdom-European Union agreement. The draft treaty was published earlier this year, and provisional application is now set for July 15, 2026. It will create smoother, Schengen-style borders with Spanish police helping at the airport and port, while keeping full United Kingdom military control. The old border fence, known as La Verja, will come down, but the underlying sovereignty dispute remains. No single country owns the strait outright. International law under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea guarantees innocent passage for everyone. But real control comes down to who holds the shores and the ports. Economically, Gibraltar is Europe's western lifeline. It moves billions of dollars in containers and general cargo from Asia through the Suez and onward. It carries huge volumes of oil and liquefied natural gas. Pipelines like the Medgaz line from Algeria to Spain, plus electricity links, all rely on this region. Spain and Italy depend heavily on North African gas. Gibraltar itself is a major refueling stop. Even a short disruption, say 10 or 20% less traffic, would hit hard. Global freight rates and insurance costs would shoot up. Europe would face shortages of fuel, food, and everyday goods. Ships would have to reroute all the way around Africa via the Cape of Good Hope, adding 10 to 15 extra days and massive fuel bills per voyage. Analysts have compared a serious closure here to a European Hormuz scenario, where trade grinds to a halt and energy prices explode. We've already seen the damage from Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. Those same ripple effects would be even bigger at Gibraltar. Militarily, NATO sees the strait as critical for alliance security. United States bases in Spain at Rota and Moron, plus the British facilities on the Rock, support counter-terrorism, migration patrols, and power projection towards the Middle East. Russian warships and Chinese research or fishing vessels pass through regularly, gathering intelligence. The Mediterranean is no longer a quiet backwater. Russia operates out of Syria. China invests in ports across Italy, Greece, and North Africa. Hybrid threats, submarine incursions, drone swarms, or sabotage of undersea cables could close the strait without ever triggering full-scale war. Add in climate change, migration pressures, and instability in places like Libya and Algeria, and the risks keep growing. So how could a modern Gibraltar gambit actually play out? It probably wouldn't start with a massive naval battle. Crises like this usually begin with smaller, calculated moves designed to test limits. It could be an accident. Think of the Ever Given container ship that blocked the Suez Canal in 2021 and froze billions in trade every day. A similar collision or environmental disaster involving oil tankers here could shut the strait temporarily. In today's panicked markets, even a few days would trigger inflation and energy shortages. Or it could be deliberate asymmetric warfare, naval mines, drone swarms, or cyber attacks on port systems. If insurance companies declare the route too risky and jack up premiums, shipping lines would reroute around Africa anyway, delaying everything by weeks and hammering the global economy. In a bigger conflict, maybe spillover from Eastern Europe or the Middle East, a major power might try to deny access using submarines or long-range anti-ship missiles based in allied countries. That would force NATO into a direct, high-stakes confrontation just to keep the waterway open. The ripple effects would be worldwide. Europe would face immediate energy shortages. Global oil and liquefied natural gas prices would spike. Supply chains would stall, factories would idle, inflation would rise, and food insecurity would worsen in import-dependent nations. Stock markets would swing wildly. NATO might mobilize, and rivals would test the limits of Article 5. Developing countries would suffer most from the extra rerouting costs. In the worst case, it could spark a wider conflict, the way choke point crises have pulled superpowers in before. Right now, as of 2026, the new United Kingdom-European Union deal on Gibraltar shows some pragmatic progress, but the old sovereignty questions haven't gone away. Across the broader Mediterranean, great power navies shadow each other. Europe pushes energy diversification through East Mediterranean gas and renewable links, and new migration and security pacts are being signed. NATO and the European Union are focusing on resilience, joint patrols, hardened infrastructure, and steady diplomacy with North African partners. The Gibraltar Gambit is a warning, not a certainty. Keeping these waters open depends on strong deterrence, smart cooperation, and backup routes in global shipping. In this new era of great power competition, geography still rules. A narrow waterway really can hold the world's economy hostage. Control of the Mediterranean isn't just about one rock or one strait. It's about the entire web of trade, energy, and security that flows through it. The next time you order something online or turn up the heat, remember that 9-mile gap between Europe and Africa. Our modern world is built on the quiet assumption that these waters will stay calm and open. In geopolitics, though, the waters rarely stay calm forever. Preventing the next crisis means constant diplomatic work. The United Kingdom and Spain managing their history carefully, Europe building real partnerships with North Africa, and everyone strictly enforcing the rules of the sea. That's why this little strait matters so much, and why we all need to keep watching it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to the Typographic Man channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can stay in the loop with all our latest updates.